Recording. Yes, this camera is really difficult. Anyway, word video. Yay, back to something normal. Hopefully. Death is the word. Well, that's it, but it was death. Trust me. Yeah. What do you do with that word? Ooh, creepy. But there's a lot of angles to death, right? Because it is just sort of one of these things where, I don't like the idea of it, but it's pretty, you can think about it intellectually and just say, yeah, but when you're dead, you're safe, it's a safe place to be. And it's just this idea of not being alive does bother us. And I think it bothers us more by the fact that death is associated with a transition of dying. So it's this idea of dying and death. They're kind of different words. Ceasing to be, you kind of do that every time you sleep. You cease to exist for a while. And that doesn't seem like a big deal. I don't wake up in shock. Like, holy shit, I was dead. I wasn't here. And, things to panic about. So it's not like that would be a problem, not being. But the ego doesn't like the idea of it. The end of this, whatever this is, and the idea that I still have things to get done, that's certainly a problem. Dying right now would be inconvenient. Becoming dead now would be inconvenient. But certainly dying always seems like, gee, we might like to put that one off. I'm getting a headache. It might be because it's cold. Annoying. It's kind of it's a subject you can deal with if you do think about it. But most people aren't going to think about it because it has that element of, at first, it's going to be bothersome to think about. At first, your visceral, innate, what's the word people use, for that, the stuff that comes to you right away, the more immediate reaction. Damn. Well, anyway, that word. Your first reaction is going to be kind of, not queasy, but you're going to be uncomfortable with the idea of it. But the more you think about it, the easier it is to put it in its place and say, being dead won't be much. And really it's just about the transition. How and when I migrate from being a living thing to being a non-existing thing. And, that's all it's really about. And even that context can take care of. So, our whole reaction to our existence is so emotional. There's so little logic to how we perceive living. And that's what the whole thing runs on, is all this panic kind of energy that make people think they need to do this. They need to do that. They need to have this. They contrive it out of this emotional response, this psychiatric response, rather than any kind of rational perspective. And with a lot of things in life, we should be able to do both. You should be able to have your personal subjective reaction, but you should also have your knowledgeable context. So, like when you see a snake or something, go ahead and react with the snake. But recognize that, it's just a snake. It's a legless lizard. It's not intrinsically worse than a lot of other animals, and I don't need to overreact. And so understand that your emotional reaction, it shouldn't be the end of your reaction. And I guess the same thing should be the truth about contemplating life and death, is recognizing that the only reaction shouldn't be your ego's reaction. You should be able to think and put a little context on it and understand that, it's not what you're reacting to. You might be reacting to the idea of dying and not the idea of being dead. If you had an off button that you just press any time, just press it and you're off, you're gone. I don't know. I think, well, obviously I would have pressed it a long time ago. But I mean, if it was that easy, I don't think death would be all that intimidating. I think the thing that's intimidating is what death implicates, in terms of you're never prepared for it, in the sense that you've got to get your life cleaned up. You got to get all your jobs done. Your appointments have to be, your appointment book has to be open. That kind of thing. And it's hard to get all that cleaned up. And then it's hard to separate, death from dying. And dying, there's legitimate reason to be apprehensive, because it doesn't sound like it's physically fun. It might be bothersome having to die in most circumstances. And even the ways of dying, you have a visceral reaction to some of them that just, even if they're incredibly quick and efficient, it just doesn't feel right. That doesn't look like a good time at all. Even though it might be so fast that you're really not going to be worried about what kind of time you're having. So anyway, it's I've always sort of been about dying by falling off a building. I mean, it's over in 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever. And that's it. 3 seconds, fuck. I should be able to do that. But it just doesn't feel right. It feels like those 3 seconds would be the longest 3 seconds, and we just, I don't know. I just don't like the smash, crush, bash, mash. This doesn't seem right. Seems like I should come to some other end. But you can't beat it for expediency, quickness, short of the guillotine, which I've become a lot more comfortable with, actually. The more I thought about guillotines, the more I realized that, this is the way to go. Instantaneous destruction of the blood pressure to the brain, instantaneous unconsciousness. You can't really beat it. It's the way to go. So anyway, as long as you don't have to, maybe watching would be sort of interesting. It's even quicker than falling off a building. The blades falling. But obviously you have to sit there for a while and know it's coming. But that's always true. I think. Mostly. Not very young. They're kind of like 40-ish guys. And a girl. I think it was a girl. Mostly female. But, not good for your stuff. Riding on this shit in the cold. No. Not a good idea. Nope. That's a kind of death, in my opinion. Slow, nasty. Alright, so that's enough. Every day is just another bag of crap. Anyway, so next time and such. Alright, I appear to be back. And I have to find a word. I should have got the word out beforehand, but I didn't. So you'll have to bear with me. Black flag of words. having a little problem speaking lately. That's not a good sign either, right? Still a couple left in here, so let's see what we got. Game. Ooh, that's a good one. Game. Yeah, the game. The game, the game, the game. The game within the game, within the game, within the game, within the game. All the games. It's all games. Games all the way down. We're all gaming the game. This game, that game, that game. They're all games. All looking for some way to win something in the context of the game. Yeah, it really is. It's all a game. It's all just a game played by a formula of, here's your goals. Here's the simple rules. Don't get caught doing this or that. That's all there is. And the price we pay for it. So games, you get back to this win-lose thing. We did those words, but that's certainly in there. And then this idea of rules. What do you play the game by? What rules? We know that the natural game, it's vacant. No rules. Nature can do almost anything, and it'll call it within the bounds of reasonable from nature's point of view. It can be just as cruel and brutal. Yeah, I mean, it can, it invents things like, parasites that'll bore a hole in your eye and eat your brain. And everything's fine. That's within the rules. Yep, perfectly acceptable. Turn your living that way. So that's nature. No rules, no compassion, no decency, no concept of fairness, deserve, no concept of consent, nothing. So in the game we play on top of that game, inside of that game, we're playing another game. So we're on this game board of horrible rules. And so we say, let's be more elegant. And let's create games that we can play that are better games. And in the past, our games have kind of sucked. We played the Let's Feed the Christians to the Lions game. That was kind of bogus. We play all kinds of animal cruelty games, like let's enslave the horses and the other animals to our needs. That's not a very good game. And then we game each other with economic systems of capitalism or socialism, either given, no fairness again. We just say, screw fairness. Let's make it about birthright and call that earning. Yeah, that's a good idea. No, that's a bad idea. But it's an effort, right? There's some pretense that it's a good game. But if you metaphor it to like a horse race, you'd say, shit, that's cheating all over the place. You got to earn it each race. You don't get head starts. You don't get advantages and disadvantages. That's bullshit. So and then we have systems for our, who's going to be one of those privileged people so they can have golden spawn. Have privileged spawn. So you can eke your way into the golden ring of good fortune. You can get lucky. You win the lottery. You can do it the stupid way. Or you can try to earn it by, dribbling a basketball for your entire youth and hoping it gets you, something, the prize. Lots of kind of hopeless, lottery tickets, I suppose. The gold medal lottery ticket, celebrity lottery ticket. It's all lottery tickets. And they're all based on bullshit most of the time. Stuff that has nothing to do with real merit. Just happen to be endowed with a good voice or a pretty face or some other attribute of charm to get you by. So not a very good game there. The game of our relationships, and, that gets all messy too. All kinds of hierarchy and ego crap, and lack of respect, appreciation. Just a messy game all over the place there. So what do we got? Bad games all around. All little chasey games. They're all built out of a need to play. And that's what we're made to do. We're made to play something. Just put a game in front of us and we will play it. Really. Give you free time and a ticket to play, and a little bit of skill to play, and you're going to be a player. Obviously we don't go for games we don't have any ability at. We tend to avoid failure. But if we have any hope of winning, we'll play the game. And that's all we are. We're gamed by the game. The game owns us. The puppet master of the game engine is winning because we're falling for it. It manipulates us. It pulls the string. It puts the Twinkie in front of us, and we go to reach for it and pick it up. I mean, really, you could play the dollar bill game forever, right? You could print a bunch of fake money, $10 bills, let's say, and you could just drop them along this path and just laugh at the people who pick them up. So say, ooh, that looks like $10. Oh, it says ha ha on it. Oh, I got gamed. Yeah, we'll play. It's just stinks. This is the world we get born into. The game dome. Game-orama. It's just sad. Yeah, we can't, and there's no way of escaping it. There's nothing else to do but play the game. Without the game, there's nothing. Without the I will chase by dancing the proper dance, by running this side of the yellow line or blue line or whatever fucking line, and do it whatever way I'm supposed to do it, and then I get my piece of pie. That's all we're doing. Over and over and over again. Just playing out the game. Oh, damn. Depressing. Yeah. A little harsh. Go that way. That's what it says. Go that way. I don't think I can do that. Oh, crap. Yeah, what else is there? Let it go, Gary. Just let the crap feeling go. I gave the universe my crap. And still seems to be here, though. Anyway, I guess that's enough for the game word. Probably could have done something else with it, but it really is everything. It's game. You can just say it over and over. We're just getting game. The horror game. The movie, the Hunger game. Just the horror game. That's all there is. The failure game. The futile game. Yuck. Yeah, yuck. Anyway, I think I'll do this last one at home. I'm tired. Yeah. I don't feel good. Anyway. Till the next word. I'm back. YouTube's really gotten annoying. So it says 1,813 minutes. 1,800 minutes. It'll upload my video. 4%. Yeah, it's just pathetic. So it's really disappointing. I don't know what to do. I mean, so, they weren't processing the videos, now they won't upload the videos. I mean, it just seems kind of, this is no good. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the problem is, but whatever. I will try to upload a video on another channel, see how that goes. Going back to the draft science video for the science videos anyway, so I'll see what happens. But man, it's discouraging. Then I pick up the word suffering. Suffering. I'm suffering. Yeah, people play with this word like it's somehow we don't understand the concept, that we have to sit there and have some sort of conversation about the nature of suffering. And really, that seems so silly. I mean, we all should know that suffering is this pool of different sensations you feel. You know, some of it's just hard pain. Some of it's just sort of miseries, aches, just, bad feelings, just not feeling well, tired. If you're really tired, it can be a kind of or tedious things can make you really kind of irritated and uncomfortable, and it can be very, very unpleasant feeling sensations, headaches, and there's all kinds of crap. Well, anyway, but yeah, it's just this idea of these repugnant sensations that we're capable of experiencing, and then when you experience them in some sort of volume, that would be qualified as suffering. So it just doesn't seem that complicated. You shouldn't have to have too much of a conversation about the nature of it and the fact that it happens to these sentient organisms who are obligated to chase and struggle and fight by nature. And even in civilization, we are obligated, to endeavor, to persevere, to do what it takes to survive, and so we have to endure unpleasant situations, being where we don't want to be, and doing what we don't want to do, and feeling what we don't want to feel, and it's just sucks, and it can be really, really bad if you're in really, really bad shape, and the suffering is extreme and torturous, and we wouldn't want that. I wouldn't accept that as the bargain for life, being tortured. So that's sort of the nature of the equation, is how much of this suffering thing, the hard payment, the hard currency of hard times, can you compensate for it with what accomplishment, with what glory, with what immunity, with what moments where you are king of the world, or at least in your head you have it. You're at peace and comfortable and blissful, and I just don't think there's any doubt that the victories are shallow and infrequent, and the hard suffering is likewise not abundant. For some of us, it's not too good. And a lot of it's just the mediocrity in between. Just trying to avoid the hard days and trying to get by. Trying to have a little bit bitten off instead of any big pieces. Try to feed the piranha your toenails and your fingernails first, and see if you can avoid having any real important parts nipped off. And that's the game we're playing. Game was the last word. So anyway, I think I'll leave it at that. But I mean, suffering, it should be a word. We could all just say it and we all know what it means, and we won't have to have some argument about it. Subjective, or it's this, or it's that. No, it's a thing conscious beings experience, is suffering. And they don't do it evenly and proportionately, or any of that crap. I mean, some people get a lot more of it than others, and people experience it quite differently depending on how much it spirals them, how much it sucks out of them. People aren't by nature homeless. They spiral into it. They do drugs and the next thing and the next thing, and sooner or later they're so crippled that they don't take care of themselves, and then that just makes them more crippled. And life is rough. It's just nasty business. Just don't play with it. It's not some sort of toy you play with. Life isn't a toy you play with. Suffering isn't something you impose. You want to bargain for how much you're going to eat? Well, that's fine. But you don't bargain for somebody else to eat suffering. That doesn't make ethical sense. And such. I need to lie down. Yeah. Really. One of those days. Mostly, partly. I have a headache. And, just, stomach's not great. And I'm just, And I'm like this a lot. Which, sucks. Yeah, okay. So, till next time.